Welcome to the PinLeader podcast, where strategic leaders get straight to the topics, strengthening our awareness and sharpening our minds. The PinLeader podcast is produced by Roar, a production division of Mays & Associates Ltd. Find out more at www.maysassociatesltd.com. Now here is your award-winning host, Dr. Shanda Gore.
And welcome to the PinLeader podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about building PinLeader Press and speaking about what it takes to really get into the publishing world, especially if you're aspiring to write a book and take it to the next level, which is to be published and for others to read it. And I am so glad to have with me Katie Gilliland, who is serving as the PinLeader Press Publishing Associate. She is an editor with a lifelong passion for the written word and its accessibility, and is also the owner of Finch and Fern Book Company. After moving from Oregon to Michigan in 2011 and leaving behind a promising career with Darish Associates, an investigative and consulting firm based in San Francisco, Katie chose to spend some time at a stay-at-home. She was ready to re-enter the workforce, and Katie saw a different path ahead of her. She started her career as a bookseller and eventual manager with Barnes & Noble, followed by management role at Barnes & Noble College, then opened Finch and Fern Book Company in Sylvania's Main Street in 2023. Katie has more than 20 years of experience as a writer, an editor, and a variety of projects, from research reports, academic essays, and business communications to narrative nonfiction, middle grade fiction, and contemporary romance. Katie has helped clearly define messaging and shape stories throughout her entire adult life. Last year, she completed and performed in the top 10% of students in an accelerated course on editing and book publishing, taught by executive managing editor, copy chief at Penguin Random House. So without further ado, welcome, Katie.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. That is such an impressive background that you have, especially with all those years of being both on the side of editing as well as at the end with actually having the book go out to the public.
Yeah, I kind of only within the last couple of years decided to do it professionally. I've been doing it for a very long time, either just like through the work that I was already doing with Darish Associates or by helping friends and family who are writing and just kind of giving them feedback. And taking the class really, I think, solidified that I have the knowledge and expertise. And it just kind of helped expand on that. Having credentials, I think, is an important thing to have for a career like this. I mean, a lot of people will be like, yeah, I can edit. Yeah, you have to have some very specific knowledge and skills to be able to do that. And I needed the credibility that came along with my expertise, more so than just saying it.
Well, I know we're excited to have you as a PinLeader Press publishing associate, really leading the way to help others get their book to the next level. Can you talk a little bit about the genre that you're working in with that press?
Yeah, so I mean, our focus is going to be on titles that help promote, the work that Mays & Associates is doing, which is professional and business development. So the idea is to take ideas that other people have and help them grow and develop them so they can share their knowledge and expertise. There's always, more areas that people can learn and grow in, and there's more than one way to do it. So having different perspectives, I think, is really important. And PinLeader Press being a vehicle for getting those books out there, I think helps not just authors who have ideas, but also helps solidify Mays & Associates as an authority on professional development.
I do think that we do a lot of work in there, and we want to have, I'm always looking for individuals like they have great ideas and they haven't really published them, or they talk about them in presentations. And I think of the leaders that are out there that they might be asked to keynote speak every here and there, but people always ask, what is it? Can you leave something behind? Is there anything that I can take to the next level, or when you're gone, I can refer back to? And I think that's one area that you can use a press like this to help you get it out. Could be a workbook even, but I'm glad that we are doing this work. I'm glad that you're helping lead that because it is important. And there are a number of people who say, everybody's got a book in them. The question is, what are you going to do? Or what are you going to write? Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, everybody's got a different perspective and a different area of expertise. Everybody likes to try things and see how they work. And if they find something that really works and they feel that that's valuable knowledge, then I think it's a very human thing to want to share that knowledge with other people because as humans, we want to learn and grow as much as possible.
Totally agree. Can you talk a little bit about the statistics? Because it's like there's a number of people that are writing books out there, and I've witnessed it too, which is why I think the press, the PinLeader press that you're leading is so important because not every book is going to make it to tens of millions of copies being sold. Can you talk about the statistics and what that looks like with the different various like outlets of print and ebooks and the like?
So, between the big five publishers, you're talking about, they produce tens of thousands of manuscripts every year, but they're also leaning heavier into the people that they know are selling a lot of books. And so those are the people that they really throw their energy behind. So while there are tens of thousands of books being produced by these big five publishers, you have more than 15,000 indie authors who are putting books out every year.
And indie meaning what? So for our listeners.
Indie means independent or self-published, but in the book world, we typically call independent bookstores our indie bookstores and self-published authors are indie authors. You have Bowker, who produces the ISBNs, the identifying numbers that you see on the barcode of every book. They reported from 2022 to 2023 that they had a 7.6% increase in the number of indie authors who are requesting ISBNs for their books.
That's a huge increase.
That is a really big increase, and I expect that number will continue to grow. And also in terms of, book trends, which formats are selling more, it's definitely print is the major format that people are still buying books in. Paperbacks sell at a higher rate than other books. I think that's probably to do with the lower cost of production, but also like economically speaking, they're more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you have hardcovers and ebooks. Those are your highest selling book formats. Audiobooks are growing, but they're not like a major part of book sales, although I do find audiobooks to be an incredibly useful way to get more reading in.
Well, it's funny because I think it also depends on the genre. I do know there are a number of individuals doing nonfiction that they really do need to do an audiobook because their listening audience really doesn't have time to read and they do want to listen like in their cars or in the, when they're working out. I get a lot of that as someone who's sold a number of audio books. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think that audiobooks are really great for a narrative, even narrative nonfiction, but also just for, disseminating ideas that you have. Anything that's going to get your reader thinking, like get the wheels turning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that audio is a great way to do that. And also it can be a lot about the best way that people absorb information. Just like everybody has a different learning style, everybody has a different reading style too. Mm-hmm. So audiobooks are a really valuable investment for getting books out to readers because some people like me do half of their reading on audio.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about with people having books in them and really where to start because that's another thing too. I have individuals who they're journaling, they're writing in a journal, which I think that's a great place to start. But then the first question really is, what are you going to do with it? I do ask individuals that too. What is the end goal? Is it really for you to have this idea printed or is it you're sharing with friends and neighbors and family members, or is it like you want everyone to see it? Like, again, what would you suggest would be the first steps for somebody to think about if they're writing a book?
I think if you want to write a book, the best place to start is what is the idea that you have? And are there, bullet points that you can write down and look at and say, okay, these are the building blocks for something really amazing. How can I expand on this? There's not really, I don't want to say no original ideas anymore, but humans have been around for a long time. Everything's kind of derivative, right? So you want to add something new and fresh to something that already exists, or you think that you have something new and you really want to run with that. That's great. I fully encourage everybody who has an idea like that to do that. Write your ideas down. But then how are you adding something different to the conversation? What is it about your idea that is original? And who are you targeting with that idea? Because knowing who your target audience is going to help how you shape that book.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I do think that if the target audience, and again, the end user and how they take it in, because you're talking about the different formats that you should be thinking about, that also plays in. How can nonfiction authors narrow a broad idea into clear, focused message? Because to your point, if they're making bullet points and they're kind of filling that in, what do you tell them? Especially if they say, oh, there's one more thing I want to put in here. Oh, there's one more thing.
That's where it comes in handy to have a developmental editor. Somebody who can look at what you've got and maybe point out things where there's a gap that maybe you need to fill in a little more information, flesh it out a little bit more. Having an editor really is handy because that really catches things that you might not have thought of, or if you're struggling with the way that you want to phrase something, how to articulate your idea in the best way, because you want to make sure that it's going to be digestible to your audience, then, that's an important thing to make sure too, because, you want people to read the book. So having somebody on your back to help you shape everything, make sure that it makes sense to your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Stay true to it.
Another thing too, and I've seen these books where the cover looks different than what I anticipated. It's almost like they didn't have a designer involved. This is where I think the difference between self-publishing, where you're doing it all yourself, and maybe you're trying to get AI to help you a little bit, to a publishing house big, but that hybrid part where you can get some advisement, that's really important. I've seen enough books now that I can tell that is self-published independently. They did it all themselves, to those that are more polished. Someone's taken a look at the book, put real design into it. Would you agree?
I do. And the reason I say that is because your book cover is that's your marketing, right? Marketing is incredibly important for book sales, but I know that we like to say, don't judge a book by its cover. And people, absolutely. In books, absolutely not. You need to make sure that your book cover falls in line with whatever the trends are for the genre you're writing in. So as much as you don't want your book to look just like everybody else's, there's a reason that those books look like that. And that's because that's what market research is showing your book cover needs to look like to sell within that genre. It is really important to have a good cover design.
I was thinking about with my book sales, I hit number one when it first came out in the Amazon world, in that particular HR and personnel management. It was a big deal. And those that picked it up, who were reading it, the number of leaders, they liked how it flowed, like it was digestible, I think, to your point. And the book cover, I didn't have my face on it. And we were actually talking offline about this. But if you're a famous person putting yourself on the front cover, that's a draw. But
yeah, that's a marketing tactic in and of itself.
Yes. And it may pull someone in, but you have to think about what are the ideas you're presenting. And so I laugh because we hit number one again, but in printing, on print on demand. And I was really excited to see that. And I really think it came down to they really weren't buying me as much as they were buying the idea that.
Which, can I just say what an amazing accomplishment that is? Because, I mean, a lot of books, millions, are print on demand. And I know that it's not like fiction genres are always going to be your top sellers, but having a book go number one in print on demand sales through Ingram is pretty incredible. So I just want to say congratulations for that.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And I think that others can do it. It's just, you need a team behind you. This is why I'm like, if you're going to go independent, think about the hybrid level of having others help you get there instead of doing it all by yourself. It's just so risky. And I'm sad because a lot of great ideas don't even make it out to market.
You really have to think too about the fact that, you're making an investment. When you think about hiring an editor, how much editing does your book need? You have to think about it as an investment in the product that you're putting out. You're creating a product, period. You have to market your product. You have to make sure that your product is well developed and that there's actually a market for it. And so hiring editors or people to design your book covers or the interiors, people to do the formatting. Like, we do this all day, every day. We know what the trends are. You might not. And there's a degree of market research that an indie author can do, but you don't have all of the expertise that's required to get this all done. Shifting the perspective from like, oh, writing a book is so expensive to I'm investing in my future as an author. I think it's all about perspective.
It is. It is an investment, but it also lends to so much to the credibility of others and spreading an idea that you've had and it's especially if it's tried and true and you're trying to say it's been across. My idea has been across more than 22,000 in workshops, just applied in different ways from different perspectives. And it really made a difference. And I could say also across 20 different industries. So it wasn't honed in just one. I made it on a billboard in New York City.
Heck yeah. Did you get a picture of that?
I did. I posted it for those that follow me on social media at Times Square. And it was really a cool moment.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I want that experience for everybody. I do. It's worthy, definitely. But I'm so glad you're leading this and helping others move to the next level with their writing journey. I know we have a pen to pen online community too in the Maine, and I'm hoping to grow that as much too.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that, with the connections that I have in the author community through my bookstore, that I can really get some authors to join up and see the value in that community. It's really about helping each other out and, sharing ideas and feedback and just building a whole new, like, almost social media network for authors specifically.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. We have a number. We just actually found out that we hit 71 countries. And so if you're in a country around the world, that's what online communities can do. It's amazing that you can get in and really talk with others.
Yeah, and it'll help you, figure out ways that you can position yourself, especially if you're writing business titles. It's important to be able to show the expertise that you have so that your readers will trust that you are a reliable source of information. So if you're struggling with coming up with ways to flesh out these ideas, then, other people can show you how maybe you can better position yourself as an expert, as a reliable source of that information.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I know you do a lot of reading and audiobooks. I gotta ask you this question. What are you reading? What are you reading right now?
So right now I do a lot of bouncing back and forth between fiction and nonfiction because I think there needs to be a balance. I'm a perpetual student. I'm always trying to learn things. So like my nonfiction read right now is True History of the United States. But then I just finished reading Dungeon Crawler Carl and Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which was a really great book. It's fiction about women in the space program in the 70s and the 80s, which was a fantastic story. 5 stars. Absolutely recommend. But yeah, I like a balance. I like to learn, but also like to immerse myself in a little bit of escapism.
Excellent. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and just sharing that perspective and really educating the audience, especially for those that are really thinking about I want to write a book. So,
I mean, if you think you got a book and you absolutely write it down and work on that, because I think have a lot that we can all learn from each other. And especially in the business world, there's always going to be room for growth and improvement, and finding new and creative ways to help each other grow professionally is a really great thing.
excellent. Well, definitely. And get a hold of us. You can find PinLeader Press at www.mazeassociatesltd.com. And the PinLeader Press is actually affiliated right there, and you can find it on there. So,
Absolutely.
and we'd like to thank our listeners. Thank you for listening to the show and sharing it and liking it. We so appreciate you. We'd also like to thank our sponsors. Thank you to sponsor Mavolino Custom Home Builders, where they build custom homes with superior quality, value, and integrity. And we'd also like to thank our sponsor, the Maine Intelligence Network, where you can find Pen to Pen. Come be part of a focused network of entrepreneurs, leaders, executives, and authors committed to sharpening leadership and strategy while scaling ventures with intention. This is the place where practical thinking meets high caliber connection. Check out the Maine. Select Maine on the homepage of www.mazeassociatesltd.com and sign up for how you can get connected. And of course, until next time.
The PinLeader podcast is hosted by Dr. Shanda Gore and brought to you by Maze & Associates Ltd., creating customized solutions for growth in the areas of leadership development, strategic planning, and culture building. Find out more at www.mazeassociatesltd.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the PinLeader podcast and share with others.